Thank you so much for coming back to Anybody Can Bake. We're going to continue to learn how to make bread today. Quick shout out to my sister who's serving in the United States Air Force in Italy. So let's make some Italian bread today. Here's one of our loaves. We're going to end up making 3 of those, all from this one beer. So these were the first 2 loaves that I made with that same beer. The one on the left was the first one, and the second one's on the right. The total of liquid should only be 1.5 cups, and I've checked that before making each. However, the head on the beer, that foam, possibly made it a little less accurate, because there's clearly more liquid in the dough on the left, and it's going to be a much wetter dough, which can be a lot more frustrating to work with. So I switched over to using a scraper and doing folds, trying to dig underneath it and fold the bottom up to the top to kind of make a tight structure. Whereas the other one, I could just stir very normally and it formed up like a very nice loaf. The third one that I made was much more similar to the second, but it was still a little more wet. So whatever results you get at home, all 3 of these are going to make great loaves, which I'll show you at the end. It was very frustrating to work with the first one because I'm very impatient with wet doughs, but it still turned out great. You can always add a little bit more flour, but you don't really want to keep adding flour because that can affect the texture as well. So here's that first dough, the one that was pretty wet. After it's risen, we're going to put it out on the board, press out any large air pockets, and we want to spread it out to about a 10 by 10 square, roughly. And we're going to look at the 2 corners that are at the top away from us, pull them down towards the center, so the top's like a triangle, take the top point and pull it past the center. Then we just roll it up into a loaf, and then you can kind of shape it and form it to what you think ideally looks like a loaf. We're going to set that on parchment paper, covered in plastic, let it rise. Okay, so I let it rise for another half hour, and I didn't actually even grease this plastic. It was recommended. And you've got your piece here. It's got a little bit of a spring to it. Just take your blade, cuts through real nice. And then this is going to look barbaric, but it works. All right. So I've just got a cookie sheet flipped over that's been preheated. I have some lava rocks for some moisture. And then you just set this thing on this. Oh yeah.
So this was the first loaf I made today, and I think I might add an extra tablespoon of water. It was a super wet loaf, very discouraging, but I just kept working it, throwing more flour in, and it actually turned out really great. It has a great sounding crust. Ooh, it's hot. It sounds awesome.